For 20 years, I was a park ranger in California and in Oregon, both state parks and county parks. And I am retired. I've been retired for about 13 years. Well, fiber art gives you the freedom to produce what you want. The key thing that really appealed to me about it is there are no rules. You paint with fabric, and then you can explore beyond just the fabric. How about different threads? How about shiny things? How about beads? How about different kinds of interwoven textured stuff? There's possibilities are unlimited, and that really appeals to me. My designs are most often nature inspired, and one of my favorite places to go to collect some photos that I like to take is around a pond that's local in the area. Catch a shot of some wildlife. I just thrive being outside, and the different things that I see as I hike along the trails or just take a walk or go birding there are certain things that just makes you pause and say, wow. I don't have to keep looking for how the crease is in the flower or where the leaf bends or something like that. Sometimes I start out doing it like that and something takes over and all of a sudden I'm not looking at any representation at all. I'm just going with the flow, and that's when the magic starts to happen. I do custom work, yes, within certain parameters. The important part for me is to gain an understanding from the person who wants to purchase the art. If it's where I'm close enough to the person where I could go to their home and get a feel for the atmosphere of where it's going to be. If I don't have that, I want some more specifics from them. Different materials, some will be very soft, and some of them will be very radical. And batiks are a wonderful blending type fabric, and their colors are more realistic. But then you can find fabric that's printed in geometric styles. Living in Oregon, I have artwork in the local gallery in Springfield. It's the Emerald Art Center, which is a learning center and a gallery. So most of my artwork travels a lot more than I do. I have pieces, permanent pieces in the National Quilting Museum in Paducah, Kentucky. If you're an art quilter, that's a good place to be. And another piece I have at the University of Chicago Medical Center. I have 3 pieces that have just been shipped to New Mexico, and they will be in a reception starting in May, to which I will go this time. I'll be there with my pieces on opening night. And from there, they will travel for the next 2 years at different places. Another piece in New Mexico was purchased by a collector. I've recently been invited to participate in a World Art Quilters Challenge, and the piece that I have in it has been accepted, and it will travel first to Japan and then to France and then back to the United States, and that will be in a 3-year process. When you see a quilter coming in, an art quilter come into a show, you always know when she is an artist or he is an artist, because her face is about 3 inches away from the piece, examining the way the thread is stitched or how is the binding done. So yes, the popularity, it draws out a lot of the artists to come and look at other artwork that is in the same field that they're in. It's a mutual admiration society, really. I use mostly batiks as far as fabric is concerned, because it's a finely woven fabric that takes a lot of multiple stitching, whereas a loose, less quality fabric might fray and fall apart. If I have a cheek of a bear that might want to be sticking out a little bit, I will leave a little bit of room to put some fill in there, some fiber fill, to make it a little bit more puffy. So there's more topography to the piece. I like to use the faced binding, which doesn't really show, but it creates a nice strong edge that's clean and is protecting the piece. My major tool is my sewing machine, and it's a basic homemaker's sewing machine. It's not a fancy machine at all. The only drawback of that is that the throat, which is the distance between our needle and the engine on the machine, is only about 4.5, 5 inches. So my pieces are not huge, not 6-foot pieces, at least on this machine. Other tools that are most important to me, one of my favorites is a little pair of scissors that have curved blades where I can snip my threads really close to the surface. So no little hanging threads are visible. That's important to me in my pieces. And of course the rotary cutter, which is what you use to cut fabric. Very neat and sharp blade, and it makes great cuts. I probably have about 6 pair of scissors, and each for a different thing. Another tool that's important to an art quilter is the cutting board. And a cutting board typically has 1-inch measurements on it, a long length measurement for the entire board that you can place your fabric on. I have a pressing board, which is about 18 inches by 24 inches. And I have a very basic, simple iron that will have steam in it or not. An iron and an ironing board is used throughout the whole process, so I have it very handy just around behind my machine. I can swivel in my chair and turn over and press the fabric and go right back to the machine again. Having art quilts as an art form has provided me a great relief from stress, everyday stress and strain of life. When I go into my studio, all the concerns and cares of everyday life are just not important anymore. And I can go in there and let my creative juices flow, and everything else is very unimportant.